Hi, welcome back to ConvinceMeAudio. I'm Koji CEO. Today, Fostex are back with another iteration of their TH line, the Th900 MK II Purple edition. This is a semi-closed back headphone from Japan. It's trying to make a statement. Let's talk. A very special thank you goes out to Mimic Cables for sending us this unit in for review. As you saw there during the unpacking, it's very much in reminiscent of the TH909s we review up here. And in the same manner, you get the big cereal box, you get the same non-ergonomic, extra long, cloth-covered, vacuum cleaner-esque cable that will probably last you a lifetime, but ultra inconvenient. But first and foremost, let's take a look at some of these accessories that's supplied to us. For the first time in my experience of opening headphones, we get a beautiful stand. This is very, very much welcome. It's well balanced, not too bad weight-wise, and perfect for hanging the headphones on. So let's put the headphones on here, and then we'll come back to that in a moment. Second of all, we get this horrible cable that I yelled about a lot in the TH909 review. I can't stand it. I don't want to unspool it. It's so long. It'll probably take me 5 minutes just to spool it like this again. But its termination, being single-ended, is 6.3, very well designed, looks excellent and very, very rigid, with excellent strain relief terminating before the jack itself. On the other end of the cable, we have the proprietary 2-pin connection, the same as the TH909s. This looks like the Sennheiser connections from the HD600, but please don't swap cables because they are wired backwards. Placing that over there, which we don't need right now. The star of the show. Let's take the headphones off of the stand and place the stand over here. These are pretty much in reminiscent of the TH909s, except they're closed back, but yet these are a semi-closed back headphone. As we can see, the termination sticks out at the bottom of the cups, these 2-pin. If you're getting third-party cables, remember it's going to cost you a little extra because those proprietary pins will cost you around $70 a pop, which it was last time I checked. We have a fantastic adjustable mechanism, the same as the TH909s. Very, very granular, very, very ergonomic. And it moves like water. It's so perfectly balanced. But occasionally I have found it actually moves by itself on the head too. Not when the pads are sealed, but you can adjust on the head and on the fly, which is pretty fantastic. Goes into designing the leather for the headband. And underneath the headband, we have a 2-channel system with a trench in the middle. But I wish there was more padding up here, genuinely, because this does cause hot spots occasionally. These headphones are pretty light. All the specifications will be scrolling down the screen now. As you can see, it's a very well ergonomically designed headphone. Tilts backwards and forwards and clamps to the head very lightly, and it's very comfortable where the cups are concerned. Same protein leather is used for the pads themselves as well. Hardware wise, absolutely beautiful. I mean, look at that cup. It feels like glass and yet it's wood. The treatment that goes into making these headphones is something ultra special. Traditional urushi lacquer treatment is actually implemented for designing these cups, and the wood, it's breathtaking, especially in this purple. It's, oh my goodness. I think it's worth having one of these in your collection just for the looks alone. We have a 50mm dynamic driver. Neodymium magnets have been used, implementing, I believe, the same similar repulsion technology with 1.5 Tesla for the magnets, akin to the 109 from memory. The biocellulose driver is proprietary in this headphone. This headphone is dynamic, obviously. It's 25 ohms and it's 100 dB sensitivity. So very, very easy to drive. And like every easy to drive headphone, it will work on anything. It will sound best on a few things. Like the TH909s, but not quite to the same level, synergy plays an enormous role with these headphones. So, that's the specification. That's the hardware, that's the headphones. Shall we talk about the sound? Using the TH909s as a baseline for these headphones, please check out the review like I mentioned previously, you find the tuning has been tamed down somewhat. The tuning of the TH909s was drastic to say the least. There was incredible bass extension if you could power it properly with the right synergy, fantastic treble region, and quite a recessed mid-range. It's the same principle here. You got well extended bass. As we will see in the frequency response breakdown, there is a big spike in the mid-bass region, mid-range is recessed, and treble region is well extended and rather forward. So on a variety of equipment, I've had different results. Before we go any further, let's discuss the sources used. I used the Luxury and Precision P6 Pro, Chord Hugo 2, the Diablo from IFI. Thank you Diablo for sending that unit in for review, and a special thank you goes out to Chord for that other unit. Thank you so much. The Chord TT2, the Tzal HM1, the Hollow Audio Bliss, the Mojo 2. That is a fantastic one because it's got on-the-fly DSP correction if you require it. The equipment used for these headphones have been quite extensive, and I've had these headphones here since September, so they have been broken in properly. They have gone through as much testing as I could possibly put on them every single morning, amongst other headphones during the review process. I can't get over these cables. It's so non-ergonomic for on the go, and it's very difficult to get a custom cable for these. It's quite expensive. So I had to put up with this in the bag. It's like 3 meters long. It's not balanced. It was a nightmare. What do I think of these headphones? I think on the right source, they're exceptionally good. They are a beautiful headphone. They provide fantastic detail retrieval. They have excellent bass, if and only if the amplifier can control it and supply enough current and voltage in the right way. Otherwise, I'm afraid it sounds like a football that's half deflated. It will never bounce off of the floor. But when, for example, using the HM1, where the amplifier grabs the driver and has full control over its every nuance, it's authoritative, subwoofer-esque, fantastic, genuinely surprised, quite open sounding for a semi-closed back as well. You never get the feeling that you're closed in. There's not much isolation and dampening, to be honest with you, but resonances, except where it comes to the treble region, is pretty good where the bass region is actually concerned. You've got this beautiful mirror sheen to everything, and the drivers are light and ultra speedy, so it responds to the slightest of change extra quick. But it is a little genre specific. I wouldn't like using this headphone for pop, badly mastered tracks. It's really nice for jazz. It's really pleasant for acoustic music. It's really pleasant for EDM, incidentally. The upper treble region really gives it good energy up there. Layering and separation is not bad, but you do get a thunderous bass in the sub region, and you get good punch in the mid-bass category too. But for somebody like myself who's really into mid-range, sometimes these fall short, unfortunately. They do create a sort of V-shaped sound signature, very, very extended in the treble region, which can be over-dominating at times. And I had the same problems with the TH909s. Except on the Chord TT2 and the M-Scaler, I did not like those headphones at all. On the OR and on the Hypsos, when you adjust the voltage and you bring it down to about 22.5, it was more tameable. But when you do get the synergy right, they are so transparent and high resolution. It's kind of remarkable what they've managed to achieve with a 50mm dynamic driver. Genuinely, I just reviewed the CMA 109 Pro. I think these provide more thunderous bass, but those are more controlled. But then again, if you got the source for it, these can bring the control because they move ultra quick. It just depends if the sound signature is for you. And unfortunately, when it comes to Fostex, we've got two sides. Those people who are obsessed and absolutely love them. I mean, look at the design for good damn reason. And there are others who can't stand it. And it's because it's a hunting game. You really do actually have to find the right source, the right music, and then the magic happens. So let's break down the frequency response. Using a fantastic test track of mine, Lilith by Monster Cat, which I will link down below, let's discuss the sub bass. Now, the synth in this sub bass is right there, dead in the center, hits ultra low, it's well below 30 Hertz. And the way it undulates and pulses in this EDM track on the HM1 and on the Bliss, this headphone has character, authority, good textural information, overly large as if it's a subwoofer down there, and quite quick. On other amplifiers using the same song, feels bloated, slow, and like that football I mentioned, not enough air in it to bounce. It's very bizarre. It's genuinely very bizarre. It really does come down to the level of equipment you use, how good the sound you get, basically at the end of the day. Mid bass spikes up. There is a big spike here, audibly. And this can either be overly bloomy, that goes into that recessed mid-range and completely hide the mid-range on bad equipment, and on excellent equipment you really have to thunderous punch. Very impactful, but still the sort of bass that hits the chest rather than the edgy attack of something like a Focal Utopia. It's very barrel shaped down below, genuinely. Then we climb up to the upper bass region. This is not too bad. It's quite lean sounding. It helps the treble region at times where things don't sound overly thin. And again, I can't overstate this enough, on the right equipment, where otherwise the treble region just murders you. It's very controlled, especially for tom-toms. You get a good sense of body, especially in the upper tom-toms, usually if the drum kit's actually laid out, where snare, hi-hat, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 tom-toms, the very first 2 or 3 over here. They've got full body, good textural information from the skin. A bit recessed, to be honest with you, in the mid-range, but very clear and distinct. So everything's pushed back a lot in the mid-range. And then we get into the treble region. This is where this is not quite as bad as the TH909s, but overly airy. Very, very open sounding. Good, not superb, good retrieval of information for hi-hats, etc. And timbre is not too bad in this region. This is my favorite Fostex by far of any of them, because it's actually easier to handle more than like the TH909s, etc. So it's a very quick sounding driver. It's not bad at all. It's just that you have to play around a little bit really to get the best out of it. Something like an Atrium, you don't have to worry, where it's got just as much of a low-end bass, more visceral, impactful, and yet that headphone really sounds fantastic on absolutely everything, like on the Euphoria back there. Incidentally, this headphone, which we will get onto in a minute, on tubes, it's something else. So the treble region is overly eerie. For some people, it will definitely be too much. Genuinely, you will be fatigued by it. You will not like it very much at all, but if you pair it with the right equipment, I think you can have a very good time with it. On tubes, something like the Euphoria, which is transparent, more solid state sounding, very punchy, good control, excellent stage, fantastic layering and image in the holographic, organic way that only tubes can deliver, this thing is a keeper. This thing is absolutely fantastic. There, the mid-range is helped by the tubes. You can actually listen to lush, beautiful songs with lyrics and get the full character of the vocals, good textural information from the singer, and with quite a nice balance, to be honest with you. So genuinely, I prefer the Mojo 2 or the Bliss or Euphoria. I find on the HM1, though probably the best control of the drivers of all of them, I mean, percussion is just tremendous on it. It's fantastic. I find it's a little bit fatiguing after a little while. But on something like the Luxury and Precision P6 Pro, which is the ladder DAC internally, that DAP honestly rivals like a 5K system. It's unbelievable. It's got to be heard to be believed. On that, this morning, for the first 10 minutes, I found it a little bit fatiguing, but then the pads sealed. These sticky membrane eggshell pads that are so soft to the touch, it's ridiculous. Take a little while to seal, and once they do, that spiky peakiness goes away and you're left with this beautiful mirror finish. Nice black background from the P6P obviously, and it manages to retrieve that detail very well, where everything looks like it's overlaid on a black silvery mirror. It's got that sheen to it, and I actually love that. There are reviewers who don't. I love that characteristic because it seems to reflect some inner light in my mind's eye, and it's genuinely fantastic. So it's a bit of a hit and miss headphone, to be honest with you. If you like Fostex and you're familiar with Fostex, you will love the TH900. It's their best in regards to tuning. The TH909 has more detail, quicker, more transparent, but not by too much. But the TH900s are far easier to manage. So in conclusion, what do I think of these headphones? Well, these are ultra beautiful, can't be denied. Look at the beauty of this thing. This is absolutely sublime. They sound fantastic if you've got the equipment to pair with it properly. I mean, if you throw this on an A90 and a D1 SE, I think you're gonna have a very bad time of it. If you throw it on something like warmer, like an Airish, in that category, I don't know why you would be pairing an $1,800 headphone with a $300 or $400 amp. You really shouldn't be doing that. Remember, the higher you go up the chain in headphones, unfortunately, the more you need to get the best out of it, and this is one of those. But on something like the CMA 15, that was quite surprising. It wasn't overly forced. It was a really good experience, especially with classical music and jazz. Fantastic. So, in conclusion, TH900s, are they worth it? Yes. In the Fostex line, definitely. $1,800, if you love this design because they only make a few of them, it might be worth having. For those of you who are treble sensitive, I will say tread very carefully. For those of you who love V-shaped, this is for you. For those of you who love tremendous subwoofer-esque bass and you've got good equipment, I say yes. The comfort in the headband is hit and miss. It's not the best, definitely, but the cups are wonderful. The pads on the cups are fantastic, and you can pad roll as well. My favorite Fostex, for sure. So let's do the scores. Build and design. 4 tigers out of 5. 5 tigers if this headband was more comfortable. It's beautiful. It's stunning. And it's luxurious. Looks like a boutique-esque headphone. And every time it's been on the desk, people have come up to it who have visited and gone, oh, those, what are those? For damn good reason. On tubes, it's fantastic. Sonically, I'm gonna give it 3 tigers out of 5 because it's so hit and miss. When it's good, it's very good. When it's bad, it's eh. Comfort, 3 tigers out of 5. Price, 3 tigers out of 5. This headphone from Fostex, the TH900 Mark II Purple Edition, the white and the red I think sound slightly different. 3 solid tigers out of 5. I would recommend it if you're looking for a semi-closed back, and if you're looking for Fostex. This is beautiful in the best Japanese way possible. And if you fancy reviews such as these, consider joining Patreon, where you get early reviews before anyone else, before it goes live on YouTube. You get access to the Telegram chat where we discuss these headphones and equipment and stuff as they come in for review, as we're going through the learning process, the review process, way before anybody has a chance to see it on YouTube. Otherwise, your like, subscription, and comments down below is all I require from you. Thank you so much for all the support over the years. It's very much appreciated. I'm Koji CEO. I'll see you in the next review. By the way, the Aperio is coming in for review. If this review comes out before it, you need to see that. Peace.